Oh, it's getting in my groove then. Right, I can't juggle. I want to talk to you today about the label of slow learning. For some children and young people, they do not keep up with their peers in certain aspects of their development. For some children, they do not keep up with their peers in any aspect of their development, and those children may be referred to as slow at learning, or they may be given some other more formal label which implies a certain disability in their ability to learn. I'm going to make a suggestion that where possible, we give young people a little bit of space to be able to catch up with the things that we expect them to have already learned by the age or stage that they have reached. I cannot juggle, as we can see, but I can do enough to... I can't do enough, can I? But if I practiced enough, I could probably do enough to just about be able to get by. Now imagine if you have a young person who is just about getting by with the stuff that they're learning, like they're just only just managing it. And then you, their parent or their teacher, comes along and puts a third ball into the mix. Can you imagine? I mean, I just wouldn't stand a chance with the juggling. But for some young people, they are too busy sorting out the first problem to have another one stacked in on top of it and be expected to cope with that one too. And what can happen at times is the equivalent of this. They freeze up. Sometimes we find that young people freeze up in their learning because their brain is trying to catch up on what's already happened. Now, depending on their life circumstances, there may be a variety of reasons why this is happening to them, and some of those reasons will require a great deal of exploring for you to be able to figure out what's going on. And I'm not saying we need to kind of let them off of the hook from being able to catch up and learn to the standard that they should be, but we can perhaps deliver things in a slightly different way, or give them a little bit more space or understanding so that we don't put quite so much pressure on them. Think about it this way. Have you ever been baking a cake and you get to the part where you need to sieve the flour? Now your sieve, obviously it has little holes in the bottom where the flour is going to filter through. But have you ever done it where you've packed in so much flour all at the same time in the top of the sieve that instead of it trickling through and dusting out the bottom of your sieve, it just sits there in the sieve and it doesn't move? It sits there like it's completely clogged up because there's so much stuff that's come in. It's packed it in so tightly, it doesn't give a chance for the information to filter through on the other side. Now imagine that there is a child who perhaps they were premature as a baby. This can have an impact on them for many, many years, and we quite often forget about that because they have appeared to have caught up in all other areas of their development. But for a child who was born prematurely, they might be a little bit behind in some of their areas of development. And so they have that effect, like I just demonstrated with the juggling or talked about with the sieve, where there is so much kind of coming in. It's almost like the information gets compounded and then they get stuck and maybe go into a kind of brain freeze with it. Similarly, a child who speaks more than one language. You know, language, especially the English language, is a tricky enough thing to process already. But if you have a young person who goes home and speaks a completely different language after a day of speaking English in school with you, then perhaps when they appear to be responding more slowly, processing more slowly, It's because they're thinking about what you're saying in a completely different language. They may be translating stuff to themselves in their head. And so that can be another way in which children might find it difficult to catch up in other areas. You know, it can be difficult to focus on maths if you're still mastering physical development. It can be difficult to master coordination if what you're still focusing on is the development of language. So I think we need to be cautious about considering young people to be slow at learning in particular areas, because in my experience, very often there is something behind that. There's a reason why. If you have a young person who is experiencing some kind of trauma at home, or they recently had a bereavement, then we would expect that that's going to have some kind of impact in other areas of their life too. And if what you're seeing in education is that this young person struggles socially, it might not be because they lack social skills. It might actually be because at this moment in time, their brain is already busy juggling other things. And that's everything I wanted to say to you for today. If you found this video useful or indeed interesting, then make sure you go ahead and click the red subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and make sure that you hit the notifications bell so that you get notified the next time I upload a video. But for now, thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, so close though.